now we go into the leg press, which of course is one of the most important machines in anybody's studio or gym, is because it's the big muscle groups we need to move around. We got to keep our legs underneath us. So what we've done is we've built a very safe, simple, and effective machine that protects the spine. We even have a platform here so people's legs don't go down between the frames, so it's very safe to get in and out of. We have it in a very wide range of adjustability because we are now using this gear rack instead of just a pop pin. With this gear rack, we can adjust in very small incremental adjustments for people's length and for range of motion. Okay, so we also have, which I'll show you here, shoulder adjustment for height, and we have 4 to 5 different positions, depending on how you look at it, for our seat back. Right now, it's on 60, 50, 60, 70, and 80 degree range angle for the back. One thing we've done here is to make sure that we have lumbar support. Instead of having a seat that bends your back in the wrong position and puts it in the weakest position, we put your lumbar in your strongest position with your hands up and shoulders back. Okay, so I'm going to have Bob come in here pretty quick, or he can come in now, and we'll set him up. We're going to use lightweight when you look at it, and I'm going to use this top stop pin. We're going to adjust him in here so that he cannot fully lock out. We'll use that top stop at 1, okay? So Bob will go ahead and put his feet up. There we go. And now he's in position. I'm going to slide him in a little bit. And he's ready to go. Pretty simple, easy to get somebody into it. But I want you to watch here too. Look at this movement here. So come around, watch this movement. Notice how he's pinned so he can't lock out, protect his knee, keep the muscles loaded instead of all the weight transferring to his bone structure. Drive down through the heel, but as you notice, this doesn't travel at an arc, but collapses and travels linear. Very linear movement instead of being an arc that drives the butt out of the seat. Now you can also use this and use the stop at the end. You can pin it up and get him closer that way and use the end of the movement as your stop. But right now, this is how we're using it most of the time, and it works extremely well. Grab the heels, stand through it, and that's the leg press. Very simple. Shoulder adjustments. Again, you know, seat back adjustment. And when he's done here, I'll pop him back. And now that he's done, relax, and we're out. Put him back. So if you have somebody that's very, very tall, you're going to have to pin the weight stack up and pin the movement arm up a little bit so they get in and out. And you have your adjustable top stop. Pull the pin out, adjust it 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Okay? So very simple, safe, and effective exercise for strengthening the hip, hamstrings, and quadriceps, especially after doing the leg extension and leg curl. Doing these 3 in a row and being this close, it's a great pre-exhaust and fatiguing out the legs. So there you go. That is our Imagine Strength leg and knee machines for pretty much any kind of protocol you want to use. This is our super pullover machine. So our pullover machine uses the same exact weight stack as virtually, and if you want to pan across, you can pan across all the equipment and see it. You notice that all the equipment is basically the same height. I mean, look at the same height, and they have the same virtual stack, whether it's a larger stack or a smaller stack. What we've done, though, with these is to make it so that pretty much all of your adjustments for weight, start and stop position are in the weight stack. And that's what this is. So if you look at what we've done here, you can adjust this start and stop position. So I'm going to pin this up 5 or 4, 5, and then we have a top stop. If I want somebody to not be able to come all the way forward, we stop it. So we have a top stop also. It's in the weight stack. So all of them have the same exact adjustments. And of course, the side stack with a 2-pound increment weight stack. Okay, so we can adjust and incrementally change somebody's workout very easily by 2 pounds at a time. So it makes it easier, of course, to fit without having to have a bunch of little weights running around the gym, be able to fit deconditioned individuals and their conditions, okay, where they're at, and allow us to slowly, because progression is the cornerstone of any program, and that's we need to be able to progress with resistance. Okay, that said let's get into the pullover itself. So real quick, I'm gonna get over here, if you'll come in a little bit. come in and take a look at these. What we've done is we make it adjustable. So, for example, these elbow pads move in and out. 3 positions. So we have a narrow, middle, and wide. So you can see this adjustment here. So the shoulders adjust. The seat back adjusts back and forward to allow for smaller and larger people. So we just pull this forward. Same thing on this side. So those are our main, of course, adjustments. And we have a seat pad that moves up and down. Well, with that seat pad, though, I want to point out all of our machines, cross-sectional, on our seats are much larger than they used to be. We're not making them small anymore because what we have found that most of our people that we train are above 50 years old. Well, they feel more stable and more comfortable on a larger seat, not a smaller seat. So when you look at our equipment, you go, wait a minute, those things are really large. Well, that's on purpose. We did it on purpose. It helps a lot, especially when you have a 93-year-old in here training and they feel stable. With a walker, this is really nice to have a much larger seat. Okay, so that said I'm gonna bring Bob in here real quick. Now, we've already set the weight at minimal weight, but I want to be able to show you how we set this up for Bob. So Bob's going to adjust his height, which he already did. So it's basically at 5 or 6. He'll sit in there, but these need to be adjusted for his width. So we put these at 3 all the way out. Pinned it up for his shoulder, let's say his bad shoulders. So we have a shorter range of motion. We can go back much more. If somebody has a great range of motion, they want to get the stretch, they can certainly do it. We're not going to do that now. So here is the seat belt, of course, and we've upgraded our seat belts. These are basically like a seat belt from an airline. Very, very stout metal and 2-pronged, so they won't snap out. Bob's going to load into it, hands open, and he's going to do a couple of reps. So nice and slow. As he drives through, he'll come around. As you do this, you'll take a look. Come around this way real quick. I want you to see the cam. The cam has a 3-to-1 fall off. Now come on up, Bob. So as you come around this matches very well, and as you have to move this machine very slowly, very controlled, but it loads up, it then falls off as we come down and around. Okay, so we do have a very good strength curve, and as you fatigue out, it then becomes where you can't feel that fall off. So as you come back and watch Bob go through one more range. One more rep for Bob. He's breathing, head comes up, chest comes up, but you notice how it fits him really well. Well, what we have found, we've also have a little bit different bend here. What we have found is that this are driven much more from your elbow, not your hand. And by the time you get down and you do this exercise, abs are fired, back is fired, but man, oh man, the lats are fired up. Triceps are fired up. Rear delts are fired up. So he's gonna come up, rest and relax. So what we're gonna do now, you're gonna have a little bit of camera change here, but we're gonna flip. I'm gonna put my wife, Kathy, in this, which she hates. And I'm gonna change the weight first to make it easier. And now she's gonna enter it, and I'm gonna show you how we set it up. So she's gonna come over. I'm gonna bring it up 1. Push the seat forward. So the seat now comes forward, so it's gonna fit her frame. We're gonna bring these in. So it's really simple. Now she's ready to go. So now we've narrowed the elbows, brought the seat forward, put her in it with the seat belt. Snug this down. Yep. And now she's going to drive, hands open, drive the elbows, slowly come down, chin will follow the chest, chest follows the elbows. Tighten the ab structure, drive way down and back, and then back up slow. She's a little bit high. I could have left her in that other seat. You can see she's a little bit high. So do me a favor, step out for a second. You're taller sitting down than I thought. So let's drop it down. We'll drop her down and that'll fit better. Felt a little off, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, I knew it, I could tell. Okay, elbows in, and away we go. Now you notice how much farther her elbows down in here. This will feel better. And her shoulders will come down and be at the ending position, almost right on the axis of rotation. It feel better? One more rep, and then we're done. And then we're gonna move over to the row, because I wanna show these two together. So we're gonna do these little videos. We're gonna do 2 machines at a time that complement each other. So this is, of course, a pullover for the upper torso, upper body squat. We'll go down and relax. And that's how it works. But you notice the difference in frame size. 80% according to research, are women now coming into facilities. Well, they have smaller frames. I'm 210 pounds, 5'6". I'm short and wide, thick, they call me. So they used to call me Stumpy. And well, Kathy's quite a bit thinner than I am. Well, how do we fit her into that machine? We couldn't do it before. We had to have all these pads around to do that. Well, we wanted to change that for you guys and make it much simpler for people to set the equipment up for much different markets. So let's go over here now. Follow me to row. So we talked about the weight stacks. We don't have to go over that. It still has the same weight stack where you're going to adjust. But I wanted to show you these. And we'll switch it to from Bob to Kathy there. But I wanted to show you the handles. What we wanted to do is be able to do a wide pull, elbows out. And that's what we did here. Not exactly necessarily a exercise you have to do, but it's nice to be able to have two different exercises in one machine. And that allows you to do a wide pull or a typical narrow or what we call low row, okay, or compound row. But we also have the adjustability here in different widths for frame. As you can see here, there's 3 different positions. So we have narrow, middle, and wide, okay? This works really well for getting to the smaller frame women that couldn't do this. We also have, that could not, they could do the exercise, but it's much harder for them to do it. We also have the pad that adjusts down for height. So we'll be able to show that with Kathy. So we got this all the way back. I'm gonna pull it in one, put this up for Bob, and you notice we actually have a little longer seat now. This was a little bit shorter. We have a longer seat now, but we have plenty of room here for somebody to sit on. So Bob's gonna come in, and we're gonna adjust this for him. We're gonna go a little wider. We're actually gonna go in the middle. So Bob's gonna grab that one. Grab that, Bob, if you would, the upper one. Yep, so there, notice he's just about locked out, so I can actually, relax for a second, Bob. I'm gonna stretch him a little bit more, so he has to reach for it. He's gonna come up on his chest and then start to pull, nice and slow. Elbows come down and back. He stays forward on the pad, but you notice the pad's right here on his chest. So it's your basic row. Works really, really well. Floats around this axis here, and we can change this for width. So if I wanted to, I could go wider, or if Bob wanted to, on the next rep, we'll switch to here, to this wide grip. We'll come down, and I'll have him switch, so you can see this. Then we'll switch to here, yep. And then he's gonna drive the elbows up and back. So now we're gonna be able to drive up and back here, a little bit wider, away from the body. Okay, it just is a nice way to change the emphasis on the exercise itself. One more rep. Squeeze, hold, and back out. Very simple, but it's very effective. So now what we're gonna do is we'll switch just so you can see the change that I did put Kathy back on. So now, you'll notice that real quick here, you'll notice before she gets over here, these are now moved in. So come on in, Kathy, we'll move them in. I'm gonna drop the weight down and probably pin it up one more because she's a little shorter. So drop the weight down, but we're gonna drop this down. Now she's gonna sit, which by the way, brings it back about an inch or so. So she's actually a little farther away. That's one reason why you may have to pin it up. And now narrow grip because the width of the shoulders. Now she can stay forward and squeeze around it. Simple, very simple. I mean, within seconds, I was able to switch it from Bob to Kathy and fit her frame. So elbows come closer to the body, just like now, and then she's gonna pull back. She can also do the wide grip from that position. So it works, it's just a great little tool, but it fits so many more people. So there you go. There's the pullover and the row, and it shows you kind of what we're thinking. The thing that we're trying to do with Imagine Strength, safe, simple, and effective exercise to allow for much wider markets that are coming into our clubs now. And it's really important for us to be able to fit their needs, not just the strong athletic people, but those that can't and need the exercise. So there you go. Thank you.